Al Ewing decides with New Avengers to relaunch it, or maybe not Al Ewing, that's not fair. Marvel decides to relaunch it. And the hook this time is that US Avengers. US Avengers, it's a kind of a look at patriotism and I don't know. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, this is Perch. Al Ewing, Paco Medina do a take on what it means to be an American, branded, marketed, selling out to the mainstream media, if you will, Avengers. Al Ewing, of course, I believe British, is I'm not sure the exact guy to do, cutting commentary on America, but hey, Alan Moore did it, so why not? This is a follow up, as I said, from US Avengers, or sorry, from New Avengers. It's US Avengers. This one had the 50 different covers that they decided to inflict on comic shops, one for each state, which was not appreciated by me. At any rate, this kind of rebrands a team. Now, this comic, unlike the last one, does a little bit more to make it, American-centric. It's got more of an Avengers feel. Robert Da Costa is filming these little vignettes, very much like a reality TV show, talking about what it means to be an American. He's red, white, and blue. To lead up to this, Da Costa has purchased AIM, renamed it Avengers Idea Mechanics, and that got him in some hot water with S.H.I.E.L.D. So what do you do with it? You spray paint them red, white, and blue, and you film some videos about how you're American. And that's all it takes to win the hearts and minds over the U.S. They're very fickle people. This comic, I don't remember the exact date this came out. I think this is pre-Trump. I think it was leading up to Trump, and probably it was meant to be kind of a kind of biting satire about kind of the Fox News and the kind of the jingoism about the USA in general. It reads like that. I'm not, again, no shade on Al Ewing. At the time, he'd gone through a couple Ultimates volumes, Mighty Avengers, a couple volumes of that, but as I've mentioned in the other videos, he's hamstrung a lot by having to run his comics during events. And that has been a real pain, I think, as a guy who's deep into continuity and likes to bring up more obscure things, juggle lots of different characters, supporting characters, and everything else. Having to have events go in the middle of that wasn't great. So this comic, at least the number one issue, manages to avoid an event. Unfortunately, by issue 5, by issue 4, we've got Deadpool, and by issue 5, we've got Secret Empire crossing over with it. So the guy can't catch a break in many ways. As I mentioned, the comic opens up with kind of this reality video. And the Secret Empire, which is a different Secret Empire than the Secret Empire that's coming in 4 issues. So in that regard, it's okay, great. They've got a flying volcano, and they're doing some bad stuff. And we're going to, Da Costa has spray painted the AIM people from yellow to red, white, and blue, depending on kind of who they are. And so he's going to send in his team, and we're going to meet them here. And this is very much kind of the reality show take on the Avengers, where the team is basically being introduced through vignettes and things. So we get Tony Ho. She is the new Iron Patriot, except she's removed all the weapons, and she is going to be a pacifist version of Iron Man to some extent. So she is basically the I believe the granddaughter, daughter or granddaughter, I think daughter, who helped save Tony Stark's life. Yeah, it's his daughter, granddaughter. The Marvel continuity, if this was still Vietnam, it'd be granddaughter, but it's not. So anyway, she's here, and she's in a relationship with this codename Enigma. This is Pod, and we learned about her. She was born in Norway. She's saying America is very different from my home country. It can be frightening sometimes. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say it? I've lived many places. I've traveled to many different countries. It always strikes me when people who are not in the U.S. try and write kind of satirically or disparagingly about the U.S., kind of how shallow it can be. They always bring like somebody from Norway talking about kind of a timid Norway person talking about U.S. Having known lots of Norwegians, this is not at all. This is not the personality type of your common Norwegian person. This is not how they talk about America, but that's okay. Anyway, we're slowly introducing the team members, and they are taking it to the Secret Empire, folks. So finally, we get Cannonball. Not finally. I mean, we're still introducing plenty. Cannonball and Squirrel Girl come in with air support. Squirrel Girl has outfitted a bunch of flying squirrels with jetpacks, and Cannonball is flying her in. She's got a little handkerchief here with red, white, blue stuff. She's a dual citizen, American and Canadian, and she's a comp sci student. So this is actually when Marvel was starting to get way into needing to identify the characters and how kind of at times odd that was. Squirrel Girl is a very fascinating character because if she debuted, well, didn't debut, but she was in New Avengers as the nanny. She's of course part of Great Lakes Avengers, and oh god, there's another series I got to do. Anyway, her personality continues to be very, very weird, where they wanted to kind of dumbify her, but also make her a science, major at the same time. I don't know, a lot of things going on there. So we get the last member of the team, and this is General Robert Maverick. He is the muscle, and this is basically he can turn into a Hulk. Basically every now and then. He's got safety lock switches that allow him to turn into a Red Hulk. So he's a Red Hulk, and he's got sunglasses and a mustache. And so he jumps in and just blows some stuff up. He gets an hour as a Red Hulk, so he just annihilates stuff. We learned a little bit more about Sam Guthrie, Cannonball. What I dig here, this again, handed to Al Ewing. Sam's wearing his the Lila Cheney T-shirt, and as a longtime X-Men fan, I appreciate that. But this wraps up the interviews. We see that the AIM people are filming it. They're being sent as internal memos. They're going to convince the SHIELD skeptics that AIM are people who want to help. And Sam kind of identifies the concept of, this whole bit, the flags, the hoorah, the U.S. Avengers, and, it's my flag, and it's Luke Cage's flag, Miss Marvel's flag, Ben Grimm's flag. We belong here, and that is our flag. And for all that this country may hate us or fear us or hurt us, I have to believe we can fight for. Okay. And just as they're about to do that, the future Captain America shows up, and she's here. And I forget which Captain America this is. I guess we'll learn later in the series. But this is the comic. The comic continues to have little adventures, and the arc is called the Skullocracy because it ends with the Golden Skull, and the Golden Skull is capitalism. I mean, that's not exactly. I mean, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. It's not like this is a big kind of anti-US. It's not that at all. It's meant to be kind of sarcastic. The Golden Skull was a son of environmental activist who snapped and became a super criminal, rebelling by delinquent dad by becoming everything he hated. And then maybe he's tied into the Plunderer, which is just a character that Al Ewing brings into every Avengers title at this time. And he's like a pirate capitalist, Red Skull, but greedy. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. And that's the end of this issue. It sounds like I'm being more negative with this than I probably am. I don't mean it that way. I'm not overly, the title looks beautiful. Paco Medina does a good job. The concept is goofy, but it's intended to be goofy. So it's like, I remember telling some people at one point that I thought this was a silly comic, and then it got a bunch of hate for it, but it was written to be a silly comic. That was kind of the whole point of it. The Captain America, this version is Danielle Cage, who is a daughter of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. Once again, I think I try and look at this reasonably. There's some fun stuff in here. It definitely is, like I said, trying to take from the storyline of Roberto is trying to bring himself back in to the mix and not be a traitor like the previous version of New Avengers was all about people being skeptical about him. We get giant kaiju and other things. I think Al Ewing, in many cases, is trying to bring some concepts that he believes some comic readers kind of want to see, very kind of almost meme-worthy type stuff. And but the problem is, once again, we have a ton of characters, we have a ton of supporting stuff, we have some side quests. Captain America comes in, and at this point, he's an evil agent of Hydra, so he's scamming the whole, everybody, and trying to put some pressure on him, and so it's. It also doesn't feel, you got a lot of scenes of Roberto, like, tomorrow's another day and there's always something we can do. The interesting part of this is Allings knows his history clearly. He's good at that, and he's trying to carve, some new things out with it. But this version of Roberto is just it feels incredibly foreign. It does not feel like the Da Costa that we know. When Hickman did that very brief run in New Mutants during the Dawn of X, when he relaunched it, they went to space. That was like, pixel perfect, written perfectly to his character. And so this one is him being a leader and also doing this big kind of U.S. scam. I mean, there's just aspects of this that are just peculiar. And then issue 4, we get a Deadpool crossover and get some dinosaurs and everything else. It feels like they're really trying to appeal to, a crowd that is looking for kind of zaniness and wackiness. But then, then we get into Secret Empire, and then the comic kind of peters out from there. At the end, a lot of these ideas just don't ever fully gel. And so I look at it this way. If you're a big fan of the concept of Al Ewing and what he brings to the table, probably that's frustrating because he brings some ideas that never really get off the launching pad to be really what they need to be. And if you dislike it, this comic is just a confusing waste of time. So either way, there's some issues here in how it all comes across. But there you go. Did you like this issue? A lot of people liked the kind of the jokey premise that it was trying to do something a little bit parody, a little bit satirical, but in the end, it's the comic doesn't feel consequential. And if you think about this coming after Secret Wars, so a lot of stuff is in continuity, whatever the current continuity is, but then Da Costa's flying into space, living on Krakoa. I don't know. I hate comics where 5 years later you can look back and like, they happened and it doesn't really matter. You can skip them. It always feels like a shame, especially when you're doing relaunches, you're doing big issues. It should matter long term. I think whether you love the author, hate the author, it should matter. And so many of these comics that came out during this particular time period were just kind of shuffled away during the Civil War II, Captain America as an evil Hydra Nazi time. A lot of those moments are just gone. But maybe I've got it wrong. Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I really appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.